Another thing I would like to talk about is business analysis and the company structure. And I don't know why it's been egging me. And it's in a way I started kind of like considering the things that happen in my head and the things that stop me from actually doing the work. The reality is, like most, your preliminary work when it comes to anything is supposed to be shitty, and that you're supposed to get a feeling of success just from the fact that you're doing it. So something beautiful comes out of focus, though, but I don't necessarily see me having it, and for some reason, it's just like everything, whatever. Whatever I'm working on right now is what's pulling me. Whatever probably I have to work on is not. I still have to do a business plan for my project. I still have to do a business analysis for my project and my personal project. I'm talking about it, and it feels like all this work that I want to do, I am trying to do for the consulting that I'm doing right now. But it's not. I don't know. It's not hesitation that I'm getting out of them. It's like the resistance to change is from the owner himself. And I remember one time, and this is something I want to share. It was like because the goal is to properly analyze a business and the needs that are necessary. But how do you tell the owner that the way he's been doing it has not been fulfilling his need for growth? And how do you, like, he doesn't read. It doesn't matter what I write for him, he doesn't read it. He's too busy to actually do any of that shit. And he's kind of like really not interested. He doesn't want to deal with it. But then he wants to micromanage. And it reminded me of myself. I want to say 6 years ago, I was still one of those. I was still in that stage where I just wanted to like do the work that I want to do, and everything else fall into place. And the shitty thing is, like sometimes you get lucky with the people you hire, and sometimes you're lucky with the people that teach you lessons. I think I was very lucky in the fact that I never got any of these people because every single time we find people that know how to do their job, they just they were either all talk or they were just kind of like ruined by the way I dealt with them. And it's probably a karmic thing, right? Like karmic thing, I mean karma. It's just like, this is how I used to interact with people before in an emotional way. And I, I'm today I'm not in the mood, so fuck this shit. And like when it comes to work, I don't know how to respond to it. Overall, over the past couple of months, specifically after I started like considering a project outside of my own, or yeah, over the past 6 months when I started even working with that guy on the e-commerce, which like prompted me to start this, I realized that what I'm lacking is an understanding of how the people that worked with me felt. This is huge. And me trying to apply the things that I learned that they normally would have done and trying to work with people is, I don't want to say making me feel bad, but humbling me in a very off way. Just don't get me wrong, this mellow attitude right now is because I actually like, still excited, but I'm feeling kind of like meh today. I don't mean meh, I'm feeling kind of like uh, subtle today. Like anything I want to say is kind of like, please understand it because I don't feel like explaining it. And that's not, I literally still have like 5, 6 videos to actually shoot because the notes are there and I fucked up on the last time. I forgot the actual my notebook. But so to be able to like apply business analysis to a company structure is not really about the company at all. It all goes back to you and it all goes back to how you actually look at the company. And it's funny because like we can look at it from a neutral's perspective. Like based on my character and my outlook, they're responding a certain kind of way. And if you get a different brand of kind of business analyst or a different guy with a different character that's also going to do business analysis, He's going to be looking at the company a certain kind of way. They're going to respond to him a certain kind of way. But ultimately, the goal is to reach that neutral ground. And maybe this is a philosophy I need to like consider heavily because ultimately, any response I get is a response that I need. And one step at a time, I need to kind of like establish that professional setting, I think, that neutral setting, which is kind of like the professionalized way of approaching these things. Huh. That is such a ride because it's not, you can't plan anything. You can't plan anything. You literally have to be able to like absorb and understand every single person that's working over there. And it's beautiful when they unite, but it's also horrible because sometimes when they unite, they're uniting in their own way and they're kind of like building momentum and energy towards something that's completely out of what we're trying to like discuss or what we're trying to like get to. But others, they unite in a very positive way. And it has to be me. I'm the trigger, right? Because like if I'm doing a good job, then ultimately we're going towards the things that we're thinking about. And if I'm not doing a good job, and it still bothers me because some things I feel like they need to relinquish control. But how do you get people to kind of like let go? I've been trying to explain my process to them. I've been trying to point out the certain things that we use in order to process. I've been trying to explain why I'm choosing these marketing techniques and why I'm choosing these smaller things that allow us to kind of move forward. And it's little things, right? Like, instead of having a 5 minute phone call, let's prepare an email. And these 5 minute phone calls, we do like 10, 20 a day. It's an hour's worth of work. But if we make a report by the end of the day, we only get to talk those 5 minutes early in the morning to discuss the report. Yet the resistance is super heavy. It's like people do not want to try to do something new. Hey man, my issue is the guy who hired me refuses to read. Anything I send them, they refuse to read. And their opinions are very stiff, especially him. And I think that's why they are the way they are, because like when it comes to them, he's very like, I don't want to say opinionated, but he has a decision and he finds a way to actually explain it to them. But now hiring me, he's kind of like forsaking that decision making process. I mean, he has to let it go. He has to be like, you make the decision. Yet he's finding space in order to come and interfere with every single decision I make. So, well, what happened today was simple. I looked at them. I was like, hey, man, when you're ready to market, I have the plans. When you find yourselves a designer and pick your brand logo and all that stuff, I have a plan. I really don't care what happens afterwards. If you can't communicate with me what you want, and then what could you be expecting from me? And after I said that, all of them were like, "No, you have to understand." I was like, "I do understand. That's why I'm telling you, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince you that branding is necessary. I'm trying to convince you the difference between a logo and a brand." Which is a note here because I really want to talk about it. And I want to talk about it not to explain it. I want to talk about it to actually be able to like understand it better myself, to maybe be able to explain it better to them. So it's fun. I really wanted to work more on the business plan, but there's absolutely no point for me to do it. And it doesn't matter. Whatever I asked from them is always going to be, it's the one thing they know is literally what they're going to respond with. And when we first started, all of us were energetic. But when we first met, we were all energetic. But when we actually started working, not one of them was. And that's exactly what they wanted. And even him, the whole lead by example, like I don't know how to talk to him. I don't know what I'm going to tell him the next time he messages me. and we were supposed to meet 4 days ago, but he never contacted me. Until now, I'm like standing here waiting for him to call because if I message him, what am I gonna tell him? Like I didn't like the way he treated me, and for him, I was deserving of it. I don't know. Fuck, man. Analyzing a business has nothing to do with the business at all. It's all about how the business is being conducted. It's all about the small methods and processes. Once you establish that, then it doesn't matter what product you have. You can always find a fucking way. All right. Thank you for hearing this rap, man.